Nityanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandatitam Gaganasharasham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Dham Namami. Nityanandam, hi, this is Ma Nitya Oviananda. Today I'm going to expand again on the series of sannyas videos I've been putting out there. Just sharing the life I'm having living around the avatar, His Holiness Paramahamsa Nityananda. What is sannyas? What is that lifestyle? What does it mean? And I just thought of a story, one of my favorite times with Swamiji. I have several stories, but I don't think I've told this one yet. A couple years ago, there was a special program going around in Nityananda Yogam. And some very small group of selected people were lucky enough to be living around Swamiji for several weeks. And he wanted to give that experience of having that connection with him like he had with his own guru, Arunagiri Yogeshwara. So he spent an intense and beautiful 9 months with Arunagiri Yogeshwara, who actually was Sadashiva himself in the human form. He would spend time with him every day at Arunachaleshwara temple in Tiruvannamalai, and that's Swamiji's birthplace, his birth town. And there's many accounts in which people saw Swamiji, with some sadhu, and so it's just an actual mystical happening, the whole thing. But that's another story entirely. Swamiji's life is an amazing, auspicious, mystical happening. But such an intimacy and such a connection, a divine connection they had together, that guru-disciple, beautiful relationship. So he wanted other people to experience that. And I was fortunate enough to spend some time in that program. And so many different things happened. Swamiji spoke about the 25 states of consciousness, the 11 dimensions. He spoke about these deeper truths. I mean, some of it went a little over my head at that time. But the beauty is when he speaks, and if you have that listening, it goes into your being. So whether or not you understand it immediately, you will get it into your system, and then it'll unlock itself at a certain time when you need it. So we got to sit in his courtyard, and basically he sat on his, swing. He's got this beautiful swing, and he sits there, and he, so much time he spent with us, doing different activities and speaking to us about all kinds of things. So from the 25 states of consciousness to sitting with him in the hall watching The Matrix. So we watched that and some other movie now, I don't remember the name of that one. But sitting around with an incarnation, according to Hinduism, and watching a movie like The Matrix, it's kind of funny. But, and of course I've seen that movie before. I used to watch all those sci-fi movies. And Swamiji even spoke how he never went to the cinema, But so it just shows that he just wants to do whatever he can to connect with us. And, to give us some truths or do something, it's always a spiritual process for him. Or actually, it's a spiritual process for us, and he's giving that to us. So in any dimension, no matter what he's doing, whether it's explaining the profound secrets of the cosmos, sharing the revelations of a sacred scripture like Bhagavad Gita, or sitting with us watching a movie, all of these things he's doing to connect us and to give us new ways to have understandings or clicks, that special connection, that we can get. So, and like the movie itself, The Matrix, he very much can comment on it, how it's parallel. The Matrix is like Maya. So living, on the grid, living in society, in the same way, how the Matrix, they were in those pods, so to speak, and they saw the world in a different way. They thought they were in a big city, and then in actuality, when they pulled the plug, it's just a matrix. It's fake. It's like a computer generated thing. In the same way, this is what we think reality is. But if we pull the plug on that so-called reality, and get into that connection with the divine, have that experience, that oneness experience, then we understand what is reality. So, and he's comparing the characters, like Morpheus is like the guru, and Neo, and everybody. He's explaining the various characters. But just having that experience, sitting there with him, and I mean, there was, and I think the girl kids came, so there were, I would say, even a couple hundred people there, and I couldn't always even see him. I kind of glanced over, and I was able to see him sometimes. But I had that experience and that feeling, and it actually was more profound. But when you're sitting with your parents or your family, and you're watching a movie as a kid, or growing up, and you have that experience, it's kind of a cozy feeling, kind of. It's like a nice time, you have some popcorn, you have some snacks, and you sit around and you watch a movie, and it's usually a time, at least I remember, where there wasn't any conflict going on. It was just people sitting together, and even though we were fixating on something that's not real, not spiritual or anything like that, but it gave some entertainment and a time for us to at least sit in each other's presence, and not have any disagreements or arguments. It just kind of brought us together. But in this way, sitting with Swamiji, it almost had that same kind of cozy feeling, except something more. Like I really felt it inside, like just like a melting feeling, like wow, like just he's sitting here with us, just like it's even hard to fathom who he really is and what he is really. You can only get sort of a glimpse of it, and certain times you have these mystical experiences, and then sometimes he's like sitting with joking around. But there's always that underlying feeling that, like, what a being he is, and then he's sitting here with us in this mundane way, and then it just makes you feel so much gratitude and some melting and some feelings, like I felt like I could just run up to him and give him a hug, like you would your father or mother, That's how I felt. But then I didn't because, I don't know, that respect for his space and what, you don't like necessarily do those kind of things because he's in a different space, and you never know what process he might be working on, and we actually could get disturbed by it. There's been some times where in some sessions, he'll say, don't come near me because the energy he's putting out, you might get hurt actually. Like you might, have some heat in the body or you might not be able to withstand it. You might, something, you know what I mean? It'll just not be a good thing for you. So he's trying to protect us. So it's not good to just go into his space without, him knowing. So, but I really felt like running up to him and just giving him like a big hug, because it was such a nice experience, and I really enjoyed it. So when you're a sannyasi, Nityananda order, you never know when you'll get these beautiful experiences with Swamiji. They can just happen. Always it's spontaneous. Anytime we plan something, it'll be for sure that typically it may not happen. But usually it's those spontaneous moments where, he has some time and he could sit with us because he's doing so many different things. He's running, this huge organization. He's running the cosmos. He's helping devotees and all the other matters to do with being the head of, the biggest Hindu organization, being being the visionary and the face of Hinduism, to telling what the Gurukul kids should do the next day in their class, to all the different things. So when he has a moment to sit with us, it's just such a blessing and a gratitude that we have. And it's always something nice and fun, or it's always a learning experience, or something always is there for us to gain in the spiritual sense, to expand. So thanks, Swamiji, for all that. And yeah, that bear hug is what I'm thinking of. So the only way you can find out more about this is really if you spend some time with him. You can come for a one-day program. I'm encouraging everyone to do that. Come to a webinar, one-day program. But it's best to really come to one of the residential programs. So Inner Awakening, or best to spend the most time with him without becoming a Dinavasi would be Sadashivatva, or any of the yatras. He's doing the Cambodia yatra and the Himalayan yatra. Spend that intimate space with him, that time where he's sitting around answering questions and doing the initiations and everything. It's just the most amazing experience ever. And of course, you have to get into the water to know what I'm talking about. So you have to get into the program and find out. So anyhow, you take a look at the links that I have listed and find out more about the programs and sign up and come. And find me and tell me you've come. I'd like to hear what your experiences are. Thanks again for watching today. Nityanandam.